you chasing a Boston qualifier right now, you have 7 weeks left. Not 7 months, 7 weeks. So I know that you're feeling the weight of that and that it's kind of a lot and you're considering, maybe you're even like, can I actually do it? So I'm going to break everything down on what exactly you need to know, what you need to do, and we're going to skip all the fluff because we don't have much time left. Okay, I've been a coach for 7 years. I've been a runner for 18. I've run at a national level multiple times. I have done the research for you so that I can save you years and hours of your time. So let's get down into it. We're going to cover a couple things. So we're going to cover the actual real deadline, the rule almost nobody's talking about correctly, how to check if your race even counts, which races are still on the table. So what can you actually do right now to qualify, what races? The real numbers you need to hit, and what to actually do in training between now and race day. Okay, so let's get into it. So the actual real deadline. So it opened up September 13th, 2025, and it closes September 13th, 2026. So you can actually still race on September 13th. There's actually a race, if you wait further in the future, that is on that last day that I will tell you. And then you have about 5 days after that deadline, so between the 14th and the 18th, you can still submit your race. So even if you run the 13th, you have that 5-day window to still submit. So if you've run your race too, you can submit at any time. That is just like the last possible chance. Okay. So whatever you run on September 13th before, that is what gets you qualified. So after that window closes, you are waiting to run a year and a half later. So if you qualify September 13th, you run Boston in 2027 in April. Okay. So the new rule that we haven't really heard of is the new net downhill rule. Okay, so it's already in effect right now. This is the first season of Boston qualifying that it has actually come into effect. So we've had some issues with people running courses that are the elevations got down too much. So I'm going to give you a couple stats for this. Any course that has 1,500 to 2,990 feet of net downhill gets 5 minutes added onto their time before Boston approves it. So even if you ran a 3:20, it technically would be a 3:25. If you are on a course that's 3,000 to 599 feet net downhill, 10 minutes gets added on, and then 6,000 feet plus, the race actually doesn't even count anymore. In most, if it says Boston qualifier on it, typically it's going to follow those rules, but that's something that you do want to check, especially if you have a smaller race that you are doing, is does this rule apply? Okay. Next one, how to see if a race actually counts. If you usually pull up the race website, you will typically see this is a Boston qualifier race. It usually says that because it's very important. Most people want to know if yours isn't on there. Email them, check. You don't want to run the race and find out that it actually doesn't qualify. Okay. A couple other things. Indoor marathons don't count. You can't do it on the treadmill. You can't do it on a track, and virtual marathons don't count. Okay. And then it also goes off of your chip time, not what you run on Strava, not when you start it. So whatever, when your chip is activated. There are some chip times that get activated even before you cross the start line. Most major larger marathons, once you cross the line, your chip starts, but there are some that even if you're way farther back and they start the race, usually it's kind of like some smaller ones. If you're further in the back, and when the gun goes off, your chip starts. So even if it takes you 30 seconds to cross the start line, you still have 30 seconds added on. So that one is kind of a small rule to just double check. So that race does have to be outdoors. Some weird things. Needs certain timing systems. If it says Boston qualifier, it's good. And then just make sure that it is within the window. Okay. So usually it'll say Boston qualifier, BAA certified also. So what marathons can you run that are actually left? We're going to talk about a couple. So Chicago is out. That is kind of a major one. That's October 11th. The real options that you have, which names are funny. These first two are called the Last Chance BQ.2. So we have one in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then Geneva, St. Charles, Illinois, which is the Grand Rapids one is September 13th. Last one. It's flat historically, 60% Boston qualifying rate, but it's usually pretty specific because of the exact deadline. And then the one in St. Charles, Illinois is early September, same format, very high Boston qualify. The Erie Marathon is also early September. It's a flat double loop. This is also one of my ones that I think people should race to Boston qualify based on a couple standards. I do have a YouTube video that breaks down my top 5. So if you're looking to run stuff next year, you can check that one out. The Santa Rosa Marathon, California is in late August. Just make sure you confirm dates because things can change. There's obviously other ones, but these are kind of the bigger ones that are a little bit more common that are left. So double check that stuff. Okay, now the actual times that you need to hit, you've probably done some research on this, but I'm going to even go into further kind of what you should be aiming for, because the actual time for the Boston qualifier number is not what you actually need to hit to get in. You're not guaranteed even if you hit this, okay? So I'll put the little picture up here. But this is to get into the 2027 Boston Marathon qualifying time. So if you want to run Boston in April, you have to qualify by September of this year, 2026. So if you were in the age group of 18 to 34, men's is 255, women non-binary is 325, 35 to 39, 3 hours for the men, 330 for the women, binary, and then 40 to 45, 305, 335, so on and so forth. So you can kind of see how that goes up. So this is the time that you need to hit to register. Even if you register, you hit the time, you're not guaranteed to get entered. Okay. So, last thing that I want to mention, your age is used on race day, not your age today. So if you qualify and let's say you're 39. And then you qualify, and the race day is when you're 40, you get entered into that next one. So your age is based off of running Boston Marathon. That one's kind of a key, like one that we need to make sure that we're aware of, because it actually usually is a good rule because you get bumped up if you're kind of on that edge. Okay, so why hitting the standard is not enough. Okay, Boston is historic for like angering a lot of runners because you hit the qualifying time, you almost feel like you should be getting. But they just have so many runners, they have so many people that qualify, and they have to keep their numbers low because they're putting on a huge race, 20 to like 30,000 people, and they have more than that, and they can't host everyone, so they have to trim it down. So unfortunately, they do one. So I'll give you a couple stats. Also put them here, but historically, 2024, you had to beat your time by 5 minutes and 29 seconds. So even if your qualifying window was 3:30, you ran at 3:27, you would not get in. You had to beat that by 5:29. So when I tell you the cutoff time, that's for every single age group. Take 5 minutes and 29 off of that. In 2025, you had to beat the standard by 6 minutes and 51 seconds. They had a record of 36,000 applicants, so they had to turn away 12,000, which is kind of insane. So usually what you want to do is aim for like 5 to 7 minutes, and that usually can put you in a safe spot. They've even had like the highest one that I saw in there was like 7 minutes and 41 seconds is the highest that they really have ever been. So if you beat it by 10, you're like almost guaranteed. But usually a minute is not safe. You usually want to aim for like, honestly, I would say 7 to 10 minutes. Okay. So let's say you run your time, you're in 10 minutes faster. Your qualifying window was 3:05. You're in at 2:55. Usually, make sure you register by the 18th. The emails will typically go out early October. So even once the window closes, you have almost like a month-ish. It can be a month and a half till you actually find out. And even when you register, your card won't be charged until you are actually accepted. So just kind of one of those things. So what to do with the actual time that you have left. Number one, pick a race that fits your strengths. So is it close by? Is it a bigger race? When is it? You can also want, if you do early August still, like it might be hot where you are. And so usually I err more towards like September if you can. Fueling is highly important. I have fueling videos if you need to watch those, but practice now, practice often, not just your long runs, every single run. Practice it as much as you can. Make sure that you're hitting your long runs. That is the most key session for marathon training. You want to make sure you're getting in a good hard workout. I'm not going to go full details on here. You can watch other videos on that. And then usually you want to taper about 2-ish weeks out is when you want to kind of start to drop your mileage. And then make sure that you can even put in a backup race if you race in like August or even like July and then one in September. It's hard to run marathons back to back, but if you really want to give it a shot, you could do that. And so then lock in your race, get it out, get travel, and get ready to go. So let me know if you think I missed anything, if you need me to cover anything, or if you have any other questions. Follow along if you want to help get faster. If you want to Boston qualify, I'm here for you. And yeah, subscribe.